Hello, it's July the 21st, 2021. This is episode number 34 of Getting Back to Conversation. The last regular episode was recorded on June the 23rd, 2021. And since that time, we celebrated the 4th of July holiday, and I went out to Arizona to spend some time with my family. My mom celebrated her 99th birthday on June the 18th, and we were not able to be out there for that time. But over the last couple weeks, we were able to go out there. So Cheryl and I and Brooke and Jay and Sarah, his wife, traveled out to Arizona, and we spent a week with my mom and my family. We rented a nice, beautiful house out in the Prescott National Forest. A beautiful house with 3 bedrooms and a loft, and enjoyed ourselves very much, and just had a really good time. One of the things we were able to do, I had forgotten what it sounds like, is the sound of the wind whistling through the pine needles, the ponderosa pine trees there in the forest. It was wonderful. We were also able to go into town, spend some time with my mom, my sisters, and Peggy and Patty, my niece Amanda, her husband Gary, and their kids Abby and Garrett. And we ate a lot of meals together and spent some good time together. What perhaps the highlight was on Friday night. Gary and Amanda hosted a movie night at their house in their backyard, and my nephew Gary puts together videos of family events and vacations, and the highlight of that Friday night event was a video that Gary created of Mom's 90th birthday, and one that he had just created recently for her 99th birthday. We sat under the stars, we ate good food, with a special boost from homemade ice cream from Gary's dad, we call him Mr. C. We even had a chance to see my nephew Thad and his son Jaden on our last night in Arizona. They'd been in Alaska, but were able to get back in time. Our paths overlapped for a little bit, and we ate Mexican food at our favorite Mexican restaurant, El Charro del Norte, in beautiful Chino Valley, Arizona. Would it come as any surprise to you that during that time in Prescott that we talked a lot? Now, I know some of you are thinking, well, that's Polly's, we do that, we talk a lot, but your family probably does too. We told stories about family events in the past. We talked about things that are going on in our lives right now, school, work, health issues. Anyhow, we talked about a lot of things. We laughed together, and we even shed a few tears. Family. I'm thankful for my family, and acknowledge the fact that what we share together, our relationships, these are built and forged by words of self-disclosure, words of encouragement, words of understanding, words of blessing, words of concern. We know and love each other because we have had a lot of conversations over the years, some happy, some sad, some very difficult. The words we have shared have formed our family. So now let's shift gears for a bit. Last night, Tuesday night, my men's small group met for a picnic potluck at the home of Skip and Catherine Galanis. They have a beautiful house and wonderful backyard. And Skip and Catherine were the finest hosts that one could imagine. I've mentioned this group, my men's group, and some of the books that we've read over the last year or so. Most of the conversations we've had have been virtual. We meet on Tuesday nights for Zoom meetings and talked about the books that we've read and about other things. But last night was the real deal, analog. We were around the same table out in the Skip's backyard and really enjoyed it. We ate and talked for 2 hours and probably could have talked for another 2. It was wonderful to be in the presence of those guys, to catch up, to talk about things that are going on in our lives, and to think about the year past and the year forward in terms of our group. These men are my friends and my brothers, and I'm so thankful to God that I'm able to do life with these guys. There's been a lot of there's been a lot of food, a lot of laughter, and a lot of conversation in my life over the last few weeks. But I want to wrap things up today by offering a stark contrast. Over the last week, I've read 2 articles, and I'm going to put the links to these articles in the notes below. The one is entitled "Lost Friendships Break Hearts and Nations." The other article is entitled "The Politics of Loneliness is Totalitarian." Let me quote just a bit of that Politics of Loneliness essay. Quote, "Friendlessness is on the rise, and so one must presume is loneliness." That's the troubling takeaway of a study released last week by the Survey Center on American Life. And that survey shows that the number of both men and women who claim to have no close friends, think about that for a minute, has increased 5-fold over the past 30 years. No close friends. For men, the rate of friendlessness has gone from 3% in 1990 to 15% in 2021. And for women, from 2% to 10% today. The pattern is the same on the high end, with the percentage of men saying that they have 10 or more friends dropping from 40% to 15%, and the percentage of women saying the same falling from 28% to 11%. The author, Damon Linker, goes on to argue that this growing occurrence of friendlessness is causing mental and physical health problems. And that as we become more isolated and lonely as Americans, our society, our culture, and our economy will be negatively impacted. I would strongly encourage you to read the Linker piece. It's only a few pages long and it's well worth the read, although I must confess it's sobering. Perhaps the author of the other essay, David French, summarized it best in his subheadline, "We were not created for power and prosperity, but for community and fellowship." French argues that we are the richest and unhappiest nation in the world. Are you intrigued by that argument? Well, I would encourage you to read French's essay. It's short and it's well worth the read. So let me wrap up today with this. I am blessed. I want to acknowledge that. My time with my family and my dinner with my small group guys last night is evidence that I have rich and deep relationships. And I really do trust that the same is true for you. But there are folks all around us that are lonely and have no real connections. The good news, you and I, we have the power to reach out. We have the power to begin conversations, to reboot relationships with family and friends. We can curse the darkness, or we can extend a lit candle to a friend, a neighbor, a coworker, someone we used to know well, but no longer do. I hear commercials all the time on our local radio stations asking the question, what is your one thing? They're asking the question about what is the one thing I can do to alleviate problems in the environment. I'm asking that same question. What is the one thing you can do to brighten our cultural and social environment? Perhaps it's starting a conversation. Well, that's it for today. I'd love to hear your comments, suggestions, ideas, maybe things you've read. Please share those in the comments below. I hope this has been helpful and beneficial to you. Remember, I'll be posting this video on my YouTube channel shortly. I hope you have a great day, and I really do hope that you have some great conversations.